So the way I would like you to decorate your coil project once it's smooth is by stamping. And you're going to want to make sure your project is smooth enough to your content, to your liking. Obviously, we're going to have to ignore the unblended coils on the inside. Don't worry about the rim. I was going to have you do something to the rim, but it's fine the way it is. Don't worry about it. So yeah, just focus on getting that project smooth, the outer wall. Get that outer wall nice and smooth till you are content. And then it's time to figure out how you're going to stamp a design and with what object. So that's what this video is all about. We're going to do a little bit of prep work in preparing your surface to be stamped. Now, hopefully a few months ago actually, you discovered some objects from your house that would be ideal for stamping. That was an assignment I asked of you a while back. So let's look at some of those objects. Even a basic pencil might get the job done. And go ahead and take any scrap clay that you have, if you have it. Otherwise, this video doesn't really apply. But if you have any scrap clay, flatten it out a little bit. I've got a golf ball size amount, and I'm doing the tortilla method here. You can also kind of like just pound it down on the table too. But just take your scrap clay, get a flat surface. Doesn't matter how thick or thin your slab is. This is like a little baby slab, basically. And get the surface soft too. You may have to hydrate it a bit so that it is a stampable surface. And remember, to create a stamped effect, you're taking an object, you're pressing it into clay so that it leaves a mark. So here I am trying out one angle of a key. I'm just testing out how well that object stamps. I'm asking myself now, does it leave an interesting mark? Is the mark bold? Does it produce a nice shadow? And here I'm trying that same key, but stamping with it at a slightly different angle, which is producing a totally different look here. Very different from the first stamped effect. So I'll have to decide, if I like the stamped work by that key and which one of the two effects I prefer. So now I'm going to smear away my stamped work and practice with the key and kind of clear my surface like I'm erasing a whiteboard. And I'm going to try out another object that I found at home, and that was a Coke bottle cap, the rough edge of a Coke bottle cap. The only problem with an object like this that you have to be careful of is that it could get stuck. You saw me kind of struggling just a second ago trying to remove the object. So that could be a problem, that something like a bottle cap could get kind of lodged in the wall of your project, and then it's hard to remove. So what I think I'm doing here that I think is better is just holding it at an angle. I'm holding the bottle cap at an angle, and I'm stamping with it that way. So I'm just getting like a partial stamp, an edge stamped. And that looks interesting too, and it's bold and has kind of produces kind of a wavy line because of the rough edge of that bottle cap. So now let's see what a paper clip does. Hopefully you still have the paper clip I gave you. Maybe not. Hopefully you have another paper clip at your house. In any case, when you stamp with a paper clip and you create rows, stamped rows, you get something that kind of looks like fish scales or mermaid skin, as I call it. You can even think of it as roof tiles, like shingles on a house. So that's kind of an interesting look too. You may prefer something like that on the outside of your project. But I highly recommend testing out the object on a scrap piece of clay. Again, if you have a scrap piece of clay. Some of you may not. Here is like old costume jewelry, and I like the chain part of this broken bracelet. To me, when I press it into the clay, it looks like tire tread. And that's bold and also interesting and kind of produces a wavy line. And then lastly, I'm just going to test out a basic pencil, which provides two options for stamping, the eraser end and the lead end. And that gets you kind of a deep, shadowy pit, which is good. And then I've got bigger circles I can make with the eraser end. So practice first, guys.